Welcome to the Power Within podcast with Richale, a masterclass in mastery of self. Simply put, this is where you get your life. Hey there, this is your favorite therapist, coach, and sister friend, Richale. How you choosing? Listen, are you enjoying my friend, Dr. David Bilstrom? He's wonderful, isn't he? He has a heart for this, I'm telling you. So if you haven't been listening, or if you just started today here, I need you to go back to episode 1. This is episode number 3. In this series, there will be another series, okay? And for those of you who know me, you know I'm having a great time because my voice has gone up so many octaves. I'm so excited about this information, and I'm grateful to be able to share with you my journey and the challenges that I've had along the journey. But if you're like me, you'll take notes and you'll begin to do your due diligence, finding the support team that you need if you identify with the information that we are sharing. So again, get your notebooks and go ahead and tune in. Let's get into Dr. David Bilstrom, my great friend. I'm so glad to have him as a friend. Let's listen. So what I want to do here is just kind of wrap up just a little bit, because I want to make sure that everyone has access to your website, to your videos and the things that you did. And I will say this, so kind of bookmark this section as the resources section, because powerful information is out there because of the world that we live in today. Absolutely. So I'm connecting you to Dr. David Bilstrom because I said this, I think, in one of my LinkedIn videos. If I'm Oprah, then you are my Dr. Oz. And so the passion that you have for this is evident. And I want everybody that I love to know you, because the information you give, the way you explain everything is very just easy to digest, even though it can sound kind of technical sometimes, but you make it easy to digest. So I want everyone to be able to go to your website, and it's drbilstrom.com or drdavidbilstrom.com.
It's drdavidbilstrom.com. So drdavidbilstrom.com. And on there we had, so I just want to mention one thing you just mentioned, what I think is so important, is you mentioned that there's so much good information out there. But I want to kind of touch on that. And I think it's important to know that just because most doctors don't know this information doesn't inherently make them a bad doctor.
That's right.
It is so hard to stay up on the medical scientific literature nowadays. And so I'll give you an example why this is. In 1850, medical knowledge doubled every 50 years. So let's say you're a doctor, you came out of med school in 1850, you had 50 years to learn as much as you learned in medical school in like 2 or 3 years. By 1950, the end of World War II, medical knowledge was doubling every 21 years. By 1980, it was doubling every 7 years. By 2020, this year, they estimate that medical knowledge will double every 73 days. There's so much great information out there about this kind of stuff. But the challenge is it is so hard to keep up. I just did a video. It's not posted yet. But a good friend of mine I grew up with playing tennis with, and we played tennis together at TCU, if I can say that. Shout out to the Horned Frogs. He's a cardiologist, interventional cardiologist, and I was talking about this huge increase in medical knowledge. So it is so hard to keep up with the small bit that we need to do every day. So like an interventional cardiologist, he has so much information to keep up on his exact profession, and a lung doctor, their exact stuff, and an obstetrician to deliver babies. I mean, you really don't want me trying to deliver your baby. You don't really want me to snake a balloon up into your heart, but functional medicine doctor is the one that knows why people get chronic disease. Now, even a cardiologist can miss stuff about what drives cardiovascular disease or all that kind of stuff. They're just trying to keep up with their stuff. They may not know the stuff that the functional medicine docs know, and the kind of stuff that I know for autoimmune disease, but the knowledge is there. And if you can find the person, and if we can get this knowledge and kind of let everybody know, share the information, So everybody kind of knows this information. Then we're getting in such a much better place, but it's just so challenging to keep up on our little piece of expertise. You can't really hold it against any doctor for not knowing that we know what causes autoimmune disease and we know what we got to do to turn that stuff around. The knowledge is there, and we just got to get the knowledge out there. So that is one reason why I started just later last year this website, and it has a lot of videos, a lot of information that I allow people to share. I got YouTube videos, 13 of them, about why people get autoimmune disease and the exact tests that need to be run and what you're looking for on these tests. And then I do a series called Your Healthy Minute, where we talk about what causes autoimmune disease. And then I do a lot of other videos. We have other information that I hope people find interesting and share with other people, because there's so many people out there that could benefit from this knowledge.
Yeah, there's so many people out there that are actually suffering and have no name for what this thing is. And so I pray today that we have given a name to it. And I will say that after meeting you, I went and watched every single video. And it didn't take long. That's what's great about it. And I felt totally equipped to walk into my next doctor's appointment and be more empowered about what needed to happen. And after that appointment to the referral doctor, I actually was able to draft an email based on your videos about the test, telling the doctor what I would like to have happen. Now, I'll share with you that they said that, we've done most of those tests and this, that, and the other. So I had to have the conversation about, well, there's the idea of the test being read by someone who understands the functional medicine. And so that's my concern now. And even if I have to go, and I did identify a functional medicine doctor, but unfortunately they're not where I am. And that, as a mental health professional who is concerned about people's mental health overall. And when you talk about an illness, many people come to therapists simply because for support as they're going through an illness. So that's very common. But when you have an illness and you don't have a support team to help you with that, then you feel very disempowered. And so we want people to feel more empowered. So I think some of the resources like you mentioned about stretching, for me, before I actually got to the point where this pain was literally gone, I began stretching with Miranda Esmond White. And that had alleviated a lot of the pain that I was feeling in my buttocks, however, without medicine, but it wasn't gone. And I wanted it gone because, again, here I am waking up in the morning feeling like I'm 90 years old and I'm young and I got a lot of things to do. So this is not natural to me. So I want to help myself as much as I can. In doing those stretches, it's very important to learn how to breathe. And one of the things that I always teach my clients is we breathe every single day, but who says we're breathing properly? Many of us breathe very shallow. And then there's the issue of toxins and the things that we actually are breathing in, right? So having plants in your home to help clean the air is really important. I need you to go and look at your house right now. Do you have plants in your living space? Because you need them. That's another reason why being out in physical nature is a benefit. But if you have allergies, you won't want to go out in the elements unless you're zooted up on Zyrtec or some other supplement like that. So at one point in time, I decided, well, I would try essential oils for that. The thing about essential oils for me was that I needed to take them more than once a day. So it became an inconvenience. So I went back to the Zyrtec because I have those allergies that are year long. So to have to take allergy balm 2 and 3 times a day just wasn't working for the CEO schedule that I'm on. But it may be something I need to reconsider. But I think that what we all need to do is kind of reevaluate our situation right now. I think January and June of every year is always a good time. But we need to create a team of people, to your point about the fact that maybe my doctor can't specifically help me the way that you can. But if we have a team of doctors that are working together, that we give consent to pass that information back and forwards to each other, then we can get more of a comprehensive look at what is going on with us. I would love to talk more about the non-traditional doctors, because I don't think that, well, I do think that actually many people have a lot of stigmas about herbal doctors. Like, or is it a herbal doctor, or are they a root doctor? Are they a witch doctor? Like, what kind of doctor really are they? Because they may not have the traditional type of certifications on the wall when you go in. Like, how do we know that these people are really truly skilled? Because they may not have recommendations from, like, right now you can go to the board of licensed professional counselors to look me up and see that I'm in good standing, and we can go to a board to see about you. But how do we pick and choose these people to be a part of our team? You mentioned chiropractors. I've only met one chiropractor who billed herself as a massage therapist. So I went to her because she was a massage therapist. But like you said, she was able to say to me, I have these resources where we can get your supplements from, even to help with things like your iron and stuff. Like, I can order that stuff for you, and you just pay me for it. But she was able to show me the research that was done on that supplement before I started taking it. So she was really dialed in, but she was a chiropractor. I would have never went to her if she didn't bill herself as a massage therapist. So can you talk a little bit about some of the people, herbalists, chiropractors? I wrote down another name that you mentioned, but just these different people, who would you say we need to have on our team? And like functional medicine doctors, I can only find 1 hour and a half away from me to the north and 3 hours away from me to the west.
Yeah, I should say that there are only 3 programs, functional medicine programs associated with teaching hospitals in the U.S. We're the only one west of the Mississippi. Cleveland Clinic has a functional medicine program, and George Washington outside of D.C. has a functional medicine program. I'll give you an idea about how needed this is, and we need more people to do this. So Cleveland Clinic started 1 year before we did out here in Idaho. And a good friend of mine who actually lives 3 doors down from us here, she's an integrated medicine physician, and she started Duke's integrated medicine program and the integrated medicine program at University of Arizona. And she knows everybody. And so I asked her if she'd do a little detective work for me. So we were here 1 year, and Cleveland Clinic was open 2 years. And I asked her to find out how many people they have on the waiting list and how long it was taking to see people. So they had 2.5 doctors at the time. And this was August, and they had about 100 people on the waiting list at Cleveland Clinic, so they couldn't see somebody till the end of the year. Out here, just by myself, we had about 150 people on the waiting list, and I was seeing them by Christmas.
Okay.
And so I go, we're doing pretty good here. You know, Cleveland Clinic's got such a huge population base and such a big name. Well, that was 3 years ago, and now Cleveland Clinic has a 3,000 person waiting list, and they're not even taking new patients. And they have 10 doctors. And so this is so needed, but there's just so few places to go that have the people that know this kind of stuff. And so functional medicine is a way of kind of looking at doing the testing to find out why you get these chronic health issues and how to reverse them or how to prevent them in the first place. So there are these 3 programs, George Washington, Cleveland Clinic, and then ourselves, which is the International Autoimmune Institute, and then the Bingham Memorial Center for Functional Medicine. I anticipate that there'll be more and more of this as more and more physicians in big university settings start doing this kind of programming. But in the meantime, there's functional medicine providers in private practice, some that are quite good know this. Naturopaths are a specialty area, and they have really good knowledge about this. There are some chiropractors that have additional training besides their manual medicine skills in how to use supplements and chronic disease. And so there's some folks out there that have got additional training, even though maybe chiropractic might be the original training, additional training beyond that. And then there are some Oriental medical doctors that do more supplementation. They can be fantastic. A little challenging sometimes to take supplements for the more Western population because they tend to use like a lot of teas. They may have not the greatest taste and this kind of stuff. So sometimes their interventions a little bit just don't jive with kind of our way of taking supplements and lifestyle changes. But that being said, it can be hugely effective in these chronic diseases. So there are a variety of people, but it's really hard to find somebody that really knows this stuff. And I don't think there's really any sort of general way of doing it. I think part of it is, going online, looking, see if a place sounds like it kind of fits what you're thinking, your way of putting information together, and then going in for maybe like an interview and seeing how the office feels, how it feels when you talk to the provider, get a sense of what they're saying or kind of jives with what you want. But I think one way is knowledge is power. And the more you can know about something, the more likely you are to be able to find the kind of person that needs to help you. So that's where, thank you so much for saying that you watched all my videos and it gave you that knowledge base that then you had to go with and start the conversation, at least with other providers, to try to get what you need. So I think, the more you know about this, the more you're going to be able to find a provider that can be of assistance to you.
Very good. So one of the things that I want you to share with everyone is, what can we do as a community to help change the way autoimmune diseases are treated worldwide? Because I know that that's a passion of yours. That is why you do what you do. That is why we're doing this segment, because we want definitely to make an impact in this area because it's greatly affecting us.
Oh, it is huge population. So I think, one thing would be lovely is if everybody remembers that they're all just one big disease. So rather than being disjointed and efforts going this way for one and this way for another, just say, no, they're all one disease. If you've got an autoimmune disease, it's all one disease. They all come from the same reasons, and they all go away basically with the same interventions. We're all together on this. So it's a population of 50 million in the U.S. now, a population of 50,000 people here, 75,000 people there. We're 50 million strong. We're all one disease, and we can turn this around to know that the medicines that are offered as the only option are kind of like a bullet on a bandage in a bullet hole. If you're feeling crummy enough and you can't put your pants on in the morning, take care of the kids, get to the office, you need that bandage. But just remember, just don't want to stay on it forever. It just will buy you time to go back and figure out why it happened. Let's get rid of it. And you don't need the medicine. You don't need all the downsides. You can definitely, there's other options besides the medicines. And the options that you can use will actually make it so you don't need the meds eventually. By doing that, you'll actually prevent new disease as time goes on. So it's a beautiful way to not keep getting one thing after another. I think another important thing to note is that one blood test called the ANA, the anti-nuclear antibody, is an autoimmune disease. Oftentimes when that shows up positive, people are told, well, there's not a specific autoimmune name we can put on that. So we know you're attacking a body part. Anti-nuclear antibody is an antibody that your immune system is making to attack your own DNA, your own nuclear material, anti-nuclear antibody. You can probably appreciate if you're starting to attack your own DNA that's in every cell in your body, that is definitely not a good thing.
Right.
The typical response, though, from the physician is, we can't put a name on it. We can't give you any medicine. We can't help you right now. We're just going to sit back and wait until you start attacking other body parts. Then we can put a name on it. Then we'll give you these medicines that don't really fix it and just make you worse over time, like the immunosuppressants. And that is a big problem. And there's so many people that have the ANA that should be sort of that light bulb that says, okay, I need to get this fixed here and now before it becomes worse. And no matter how famous and no matter how many resources you have, this is the information people are getting. So if I can kind of say this, Lady Gaga, as far as I can tell, is in this position where she has not been feeling well for a while. I don't follow social entertainment industry a ton, but I do follow autoimmune disease stuff. And so she hasn't been feeling well for quite a while. Questions are raised. Her aunt apparently has lupus, which is an autoimmune disease. So some people were saying, geez, maybe she has lupus. I think she came out and said, I don't have lupus. But then a year and a half ago, maybe, a little over a year ago, she had to cancel some dates. And they said, well, she wasn't feeling well. And eventually they came out and said, well, it's not autoimmune disease. Yeah, my grandma or my aunt had lupus, But what I have is I just have a positive ANA. I don't have an autoimmune disease. I just have positive ANA. And I kind of cringed. I said, well, yeah, you do. You have an autoimmune process. But what I have is I have fibromyalgia. That's why I'm tired and why I'm sore. It's not an autoimmune process. Well, one thing you want to know is, like we talked about originally, is whatever's driving the autoimmune process is driving everything else. Thus, so many people with autoimmune disease are diagnosed with fibromyalgia because they have muscle pain and fatigue. And so here's wonderful entertainer, and she's kind of like the person that you're trying to help. She is a driver. She is an achiever. She's going to overcome any obstacles to get her message, which is a beautiful message out, besides the beautiful music that she puts out. She is the CEO, executive of her life. She's the perfect person to get autoimmune disease. She's the perfect person to turn it around because you give her a challenge, she'll do it. But here's somebody that doesn't know that ANA is basically an autoimmune disease. You're attacking the body parts. The fibromyalgia and the fatigue is just being driven by the thing that drives ANA. She's got a family history of autoimmune disease, and maybe nobody's told her that, geez, if you've got a family history of this, you are so much more likely to get this kind of stuff. And here she is still sitting back, and she's just going to get worse and worse until they do tell her that she has lupus or rheumatoid or multiple sclerosis or some kind of not nice thing. And then she'll be in a position not to know the options that are available to her and be put on medicines that are very counterproductive. So I think an important thing to know is ANA is an autoimmune disease. I actually, for the sake of, in allopathic medicine, if we don't have a name for something, we don't tend to know what to do interventional-wise. And so I actually wrote a blog post, and it's going to come out in a book chapter I was asked to write about pain control in the face of autoimmune disease, where I actually named it Bilstrom's nuclearitis. You're attacking your nuclear material. It's very similar to Hashimoto's thyroiditis, where Dr. Hashimoto in Japan said, hey, here's something that attacks the thyroid. I'm going to name it Hashimoto's thyroiditis. So now we'll have a name on it. We can do something about it. So I wanted to name the positive ANA. So we have a name. Now we have a name. We can fix it. We'll do it more by turning the whole thing around versus throwing medicine at it. But just to know that ANA is an autoimmune process, and that should be a light bulb to really get going. And just know in general that people know that this stuff can be turned around. There's no reason why your body can't fix anything, no matter how bad you are. And this can really be turned around. And just let's get people empowered to say, hey, this isn't a death sentence. This isn't my life. It's going to stink from this moment on. I'm going to be on meds. They're going to be making it very challenging to feel good. Is we know it does it. We know how to reverse it. We can get it to go away. We can prevent you from getting new ones. And by the way, everything else is bugging will go away too. And you don't end up you get rid of risk of breast cancer, heart disease, all this other kind of stuff. It's really the best way to prevent chronic disease from coming in the future. And if people can kind of spread that message, this very empowering message, and kind of get people's mindset, to your point, the mindset of being not kind of a victim, but more of a mindset of, I have control of this, and if I can educate myself enough about this and keep moving forward, I can tackle this and get it to go away. I think just getting that mindset turned around will be really profound.
Definitely. Okay, so this has been absolutely wonderful, and you and I can talk forever. So what we're going to do is we're going to end for now, and I'm just going to say, I want to say thank you to you so much for being here to share with us. And we're going to hear a whole lot more from you, but I just want everybody to just digest this. This is going to be, several series that we're going to do. So we're going to break this up so that people can digest it very well. But I want to say thank you to Dr. David Bilstrom for being here today and sharing his wisdom and his knowledge and expertise with the Power Within listeners. And is there any last thing that you want to share?
I just say, please share the information. Nobody's going to be able to benefit from this information if nobody knows it. So please share it. And if I could ever do anything to help anybody, just know that I'm here.
All right. So this has been your favorite therapist, coach, and sister friend, Richale, and we will see you soon. To your good health is what we believe that this segment is going to be for you. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Remember, the power within you is undeniable. Blessings from your favorite therapist, coach, and sister friend, Richale. You've been listening to the Power Within podcast with Richale Reed. For more information on all things Richale, go to empoweryou.com. And before you go, don't forget to comment, follow, and share this episode with someone you love.